Hello, I'm Eric Buck, Associate Broker with RE/MAX Properties of the Summit, the #1 brokerage firm here in Summit County. I'm here with Pat and Joni of Independent Property Inspectors. My buyers engaged them to inspect this home to make sure there aren't any hidden defects. We're going to sit down with Joni and talk about the inspection process while Pat starts the inspection. Okay, Joni, so why does somebody need to get a home inspection?
Well, Eric, a buyer wants to get a home inspection to really learn about the property that they're purchasing so that they know what it is they're buying. A home inspection is comprised of inspecting thousands of components of a home and then putting all those together as they work together within the home. It's a definition of inspection is a non-invasive visual examination of the property. So when an inspector goes in that home, they're looking for the big issues like foundational concerns, safety concerns, but an inspector has to do all of the components in order to see how that home is operating properly.
Okay. Is there a reason why a seller might want to get an inspection before he even has a contract?
Yes, a seller, I would say, should always consider a home inspection. It will identify any problems in advance, make a transaction smoother, and particularly if they are wanting to make it easy, make sure that there's no problems as they get to that closing table. They're going to identify those problems, be able to correct them, and then kind of have smooth sailing all the way to the end of their selling process.
Right, so it creates a situation where you don't have any surprises when you're trying to get the contract closed.
Right. I would say if there was 2 words that people say, a seller says to us, is we want no surprises, and that's why they choose to have a seller's inspection, sometimes known as a pre-listing inspection.
Yeah. So what things aren't included in a typical inspection that you might want to call in some other specialist to look at?
Yeah, that's a great question because there are certain things, it depends on, usually it's single family homes where you might be on a well and a septic, for instance. A septic in Summit County anyway is the responsibility of the seller to provide the buyer with documentation that has been inspected by county identified specialists. A well is another thing that a typical home inspector does not include in their report, but I would advise anyone purchasing a home on a well to make sure that they're going to get that well, both the water, the potability of the water, and the flow tested. Other things are more environmental oriented. For instance, radon. Most inspectors, and we do with our company, test for radon. It's not by law, you get the choice, but I would advise anyone purchasing a home to test for radon. And that is, it's a naturally occurring gas, it's not a deal killer, you just want to know if it's there so that you can take care of it. Other things would be like asbestos, lead-based paint. In our area, we don't have quite as much concern about that, but some buyers are concerned, and in which case they'll want to go to a specialist, and we can help you out finding the right person for that.
Sure. And in your inspection report, you identify what things you do inspect for and what things you don't.
That's another great question. I would encourage anyone to go to that's purchasing a property to go to the standards of practice of whomever the inspector, the trade association. We belong to an organization called NACHI, which stands for National Association of Certified Home Inspectors. So we follow a very detailed standards of practice that says what we inspect, what we don't inspect, and basically we can't inspect what we can't see. If it's not visible, then we note so in the report. Sometimes that could be because of snow, but most often it's excuse me, it's just truly because it's something that we can't access as an inspector. What we do inspect is all the major systems of the home, the heating, the plumbing, the electrical. We're operating all of the appliances. We do smaller things like open and close doors and windows, and people think, oh, I'm not worried about that, but that can lead to more significant issues. Sure. And that's why we do those smaller things. Again, it's all tied together. And so we are, for plumbing for instance, we start the dishwasher, the washer, and then we start filling up sinks, flushing toilets, running showers, all at the same time. So we're simulating a full house. Electrical, we're getting to all the, pulling the cover off the panel, getting to every electrical outlet that we can get to, and just reporting on everything, looking for the big items, but also including those smaller ones. So,
Joni, once you've done the report, what does the person that has engaged you get? What is their hard copy or whatever?
Right. Typically anymore, we just do it all via email. You get a PDF format of the inspection, and that can be easily sent off to whomever you need. We always encourage them to have us send a copy to their realtor professional, because that's what you're going to do next, is take that report, go to their agent and say, kind of go through the list. And it's a list that might not be, hey, I can ask the seller to do everything, but again, it's learning what it is that you are purchasing.
Sure, sure. So what are some of the common hidden defects you find?
I would say in our area, being in a mountain environment, one of the largest ones is moisture. And when we're going through each room of the house, we're also always looking for any kind of moisture intrusion, whether that be from the roof, from outside, foundational drainage issues, if it's a condo, from another unit. And those are lots of times people haven't seen those. Other common problems would be electrical. We're always looking for any kind of safety, so any kind of wiring that's not correct, we're obviously going to list that in the report. And then in addition, I would say in Summit County, because heating is pretty important up here in the mountains,
sure,
that boilers and furnaces, and you just don't want those to go out on a day like today because you're going to have trouble. So that's another big component of our inspection that we frequently have something that we're going to note in there that might be a maintenance thing, but does need to be taken care of.
Right, right. So really, when it comes to it, the cost of inspection is pretty small compared to the investment you're making in the home. Maybe you can talk a little bit about what it does cost to have an inspection
that's
done.
true, and you have to look at that. Some people, you don't take it that way, but what it is basically based on square footage, a little bit of age of the home. But for instance, we inspect condos that are 500 square feet, and we inspect homes that are 5,000, 10,000 square feet. So you can expect a smaller condo in the $200 range. You get up to 5,000, 6,000 square feet, and you're going to be in the $600, $700 range and on up if you have a larger home.
Yeah, well, given the cost of a hidden defect, that is quite the bargain.
It can save you a lot of money.
So finally, what does someone look for in their inspection company before hiring them?
Yeah, and that's another good question, because in the state of Colorado, you actually do not need to be certified. Colorado doesn't have certification. However, there are national trade associations that do certify inspectors. And so you want to look for someone that is certified, not just the company itself, but make sure the inspector that's coming to your home is certified, has experience, and something that a lot of people don't think of in advance is you want to be able to be comfortable talking to your inspector. You need a relationship with that person, because when you get the report, you might have a question, and we really want you to either attend the inspection or give us a call afterwards. And you need to be able to communicate back and forth. So communication is big, and your comfort level of doing that with your inspector.
Thank you, Joni. That's great information. Why don't you let our viewers know where they can get more information from you about getting their homes inspected?
Sure. The best way to start is at our website, which reads mountaininspector.com, but mountain is abbreviated, so it's mtninspector.com, or give us a ring at 970-468-9400, and we'd be more than happy to answer any questions about an inspection and definitely engage you in hiring us for your inspection.
Great, thank you. One final thought for buyers who have engaged an inspector as part of their due diligence process in buying a home. An inspection is not an excuse to renegotiate the price. The purpose of an inspection is to find major defects that weren't obvious at the time that you went through the home and made your initial offer. If there are major items, then you certainly can ask for compensation, either to have them repaired or to reduce the purchase price. But if these items were obvious at the time you bid for the house and reached an agreement on a purchase price, it really is not reasonable to go back and ask for an adjustment. I hope you've enjoyed our discussion of home inspections, and if you need any additional information about inspections or any other real estate item, feel free to give me a call at 970-406-0858, or you can email me at ecbuck@ownthesummit.com.